The Republicans' Obamacare dilemma is more than just a political headache. It's a looming crisis with real consequences that many Americans might not fully grasp yet. But here's where it gets controversial. Even as millions stand to lose vital health coverage, GOP leaders appear reluctant to act decisively. What happens next could define their political fortunes for years to come. Let's unpack this tangled situation. Right now, Washington's spotlight is on two headline-grabbing issues: the Jeffrey Epstein saga and the risk of a government shutdown by the month's end. Yet quietly behind closed doors, a group of vulnerable Republican lawmakers is deeply concerned about an urgent matter that is slipping under the radar: the expiration of Obamacare premium subsidies at the end of the year. This so-called Obamacare cliff is much more than political jargon. These enhanced tax credits have been crucial for millions of Americans, helping them afford health insurance purchased through the Obamacare marketplaces. According to the Congressional Budget Office, letting these premium subsidies expire could lead to over 4 million people losing their health coverage. This is no small matter. John McLaughlin, a longtime pollster for Trump, recently called this the GOP's greatest midterm threat. Why is this so critical? Inflation and the rising cost of living are already big hurdles for the Republicans as they prepare for the 2026 elections. On top of that, they have faced sharp criticism for Medicaid cuts embedded in the One Big Beautiful Bill. Letting the Obamacare subsidies vanish could only deepen those problems, possibly causing further political damage. Make no mistake, the Republicans currently control Washington. If health insurance premiums skyrocket or millions lose coverage, the GOP will bear the brunt of the blame. They admit this privately, acknowledging the political risk. There is talk that the upcoming government shutdown bill could provide an opportunity to address the subsidy expiration. Senate Democrats seem willing to support a stopgap measure that extends these tax credits, potentially in exchange for a vote on government funding. But here's the rub. Republican leadership shows little enthusiasm for extending these subsidies. One senior GOP aide described it as incredibly unpopular within the conference, calling it expensive and bad policy. For example, Jason Smith, chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, criticized these subsidies heavily in July and has ruled out an extension unless major changes are made. Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader John Thune has expressed some openness within his party to continue the credits, but emphasized that Democrats need to bring concrete proposals to the table. A bipartisan agreement on this could smooth the path for passing the government funding bill, given Democrats' votes will be crucial. Yet, a limited or short-term subsidy extension might not satisfy Democrats, making any deal complicated. The White House is still shaping its response and appears firm that a lasting resolution cannot be jammed into a short-term continuing resolution. If former President Trump wants the subsidies extended, that discussion might only happen in December, possibly too late for many families. Why does timing matter so much? Insurers are already notifying customers that premiums will increase sharply because open enrollment for 2026 starts November 1st. If subsidies aren't extended promptly, those affected could face major financial shocks before a solution emerges. Now let's look at some of the political maneuvers underway. 1. A bipartisan coalition of vulnerable House Republicans and moderate Democrats is pushing a bill to extend these subsidies for an entire year, effectively postponing the deadline past the midterms. This move could cost around $24 billion, based on the CBO's estimates from last year. This group includes Republican reps Jen Kiggans, VA, Brian Fitzpatrick, Rob Bresnahan, PA, Carlos Gimenez, FL, David Valadao, Young Kim, Jeff Hurd, CO, Tom Keene, NJ, Juan Ciscomani, Arizona, and Democratic reps Tom Suozzi, New York, and Jared Golden. Kiggans has voiced support for a reasonable phase-out of the subsidies, but emphasizes that Congress simply doesn't have the luxury of time now. She described the need for a one-year patch to prevent premium spikes. Speaking at a Republican governance group lunch, she said COVID is over, so we don't need the same incentives anymore. But we can't end them all at once. It must be a gradual process. Outside political groups like American Advancement Inc. have launched nationwide ad campaigns arguing that extending Obamacare subsidies is critical to maintaining the Republican majority and safeguarding Trump's influence. For example, an ad targeted at GOP Senator Susan Collins in Maine exhorts that these extensions help deliver on promises made to voters. Similar ads are running against other GOP senators, including John Thune in South Dakota, Shelley Moore Capito in West Virginia, John Husted in Ohio, and even in Louisiana targeting Speaker Mike Johnson. The tensions reveal a party deeply divided on how to handle this issue. Democrats are gearing up to make this as politically painful as possible for Republicans. Led by Senator Jeanne Shaheen, D. New Hampshire, they have commissioned a fresh analysis from Georgetown University's Center on Health Insurance Reforms. This report highlights that insurers expect a significant decline in Obamacare enrollment if subsidies expire, pointing out that premium increases are being driven by both subsidy expiration and anticipated rises in healthcare costs. Shaheen summed up the stakes, saying, "Both sides recognize we need to get something done, and I sincerely hope my Republican colleagues don't stand in the way." And here's the part most people miss. This isn't just a policy debate. It's a political pressure cooker with conflicting views on how to balance fiscal responsibility, electoral calculations, and public health needs. Do Republicans risk alienating their base by extending subsidies they ideologically oppose? Or do they risk political fallout by letting millions lose coverage? What do you think? Should Congress push for a full, long-term solution to preserve these subsidies, even if it means uncomfortable compromises? Or is it time to phase them out aggressively, accepting short-term pain for what some call fiscal prudence? Share your thoughts. Do you see the GOP's hesitation as political cowardice, strategic caution, or something else entirely? This is a defining moment for American healthcare and political leadership alike.